I really hope I'm in frame for this. If not, then this is going to be, well, look very, very awkward, but I think I'm good. Today we're going to be making an old-fashioned, and one of my favorite variations on it. Now the old-fashioned is sort of a misnomer. It's not really, obviously you can't name something old-fashioned until obviously it's gone out of fashion. Now when the word cocktail was first invented, it was not used as a universal term for any mixed alcoholic drink. It was a very specific category of alcoholic drinks. Basically, if it was spirit, sugar, and bitters, then it was a cocktail. If you took the bitters out and added in something else, like an herb, like if you added in herbs, it would be a julep. If you took out the bitters and you had some kind of citrus with the sugar, it would be a sour. But a cocktail is a specific thing. And that was basically the only ingredients, with those three, and usually a garnish. After a few years, they invented some, syrups and things like Luxardo maraschino and absinthe, which gave birth to the improved whiskey cocktail. And around this time, what was happening is that people were going into bars saying they want it done the old-fashioned way. So instead of having all the extra syrups and stuff in there that made it taste fancier, they wanted it the old way that they grew up with, and their dad grew up with, and their dad's dad grew up with. So that gave birth to the old-fashioned. There's a much longer version of the story. It went through quite a few changes. I would love to do a full episode on sort of the history of that, but that'll come for a later episode. Today we're just going to make what most places, if it's a nice bar, will make you if they make, if you go in there and order an old-fashioned cocktail. There are a lot of ways to build these. The simplest way, and my favorite, and what I see most people do, is build it in the glass. But this is a little frosted, which is fine. As I said, it's pretty simple. Start with the bitters, Angostura bitters. I'm gonna go with 3 dashes. You could go more, you could go less, you could go 1, 2, you could go up to 20, but by that point you probably won't. Well, it won't be the same. I'm not gonna say you won't like it. Sugar. This is not supposed to be an overly sweet cocktail. Some people don't use simple syrup. They will add a sugar cube or maybe like a bar spoon's worth of fine sugar, a little bit of water, and then mix it up. I don't see the point in that at all. I'm just gonna go with simple syrup. I don't know how well you can see it on the camera. It's a bit dark. This is not flavored. I just used turbinado sugar, which does have a bit more of molasses type taste, but it's really not flavored. It will be a bit different than white sugar, but I'm gonna go with 2 bar spoons worth. If you like your cocktails pretty sweet, you might wanna go for about 1/4 of an ounce, up to 1/2, but I think 1/2 is really pushing it. And I need a jigger. I'll be right back. That will do. Bourbon, 2 ounces. Ice cube, I got some nice big ones here. I'm just gonna lower that in with my spoon. I'm going to try it out. That's not going down. I got a bad angle. I've never had, fuck. Shoot. I mean, I've never had this much trouble. Okay, you really, this is so embarrassing. I'm all set up finally in my office with something approximating a proper camera angle. Okay. You don't want to overstir an old-fashioned, which is pretty easy to do. Just gonna stir until you think all the ingredients have mixed up. You can kind of see the sugar floating around the ice cube, but it's pretty good. Last but not least, you're going to need a garnish. There's going to be some kind of citrus. You could go lemon. I'm going to go with orange, which is really good stuff. And you want to peel this over the glass, of course. Nice long strip. And you just kind of squeeze that to express all the oils you can. Drop it on in. There you have the old-fashioned. It's good. Because I'm always experimenting, I don't come back to these that often, but at the end of the day, it's just a fine cocktail. It's definitely spirit forward. Like the first note, well, the strongest notes are definitely bourbon, so. But the orange is really good on the nose. The flavor orange is in there a bit, but it's mostly playing on your nose. However, the little bit of sweetness and the bitters help to round out the drink. Now that's kind of what this drink is for. it is sort of a showcase, if you will, for the spirit in question. Because obviously if you want to just taste the spirit, you could pour it into a glass, you know, with some ice, or maybe into a Glencairn and just have it neat and try to break it apart. But if you want to take it a step above while still definitely, you know, having the distinct flavor in there, an old fashioned is a great way to go, because the sweetness and the bitters and a little bit of garnish help to just round it out without destroying it. As I mentioned, one of the earliest variations was called the improved whiskey cocktail, which they shunned in favor of making them more old-fashioned. There's a very specific variation on the improved whiskey cocktail. It's called the Sazerac. Some people will claim it's its own thing. Some people will say that it was invented in New Orleans. There's a very long history about this drink, but at the end of the day, it's basically an improved whiskey cocktail without absinthe, served straight up. There are some specific things about this drink, and it's probably my favorite variation because it has just enough to elevate it above the old-fashioned while, you know, maintaining. You know what? You'll see. First thing we need to do is I need a mixing glass. I'll be back again. Okay, I'm back again. I usually just do this in the bottom of my shaker tin, but I kind of wanted to show you guys, so I'm going to do it in a Collins glass. I could have grabbed maybe my tulip style pint glass. I need to get a mixing glass, I really do. But I'm going to go ahead and take this right here, add our ingredients in. The Sazerac uniquely features Peychaud's. If you're making a Sazerac, it kind of has to have it, and use a fair amount of it. I'm going to go maybe even close to 11. I'm almost out of Peychaud's. I just bought a fresh bottle, so I'm kind of trying to use this up too. Then I'm going to go ahead and go with some sugar. I'm going to just do the same amount, just a couple bar spoons. And now the spirit. Rye is very much standard. That's another thing, is that it kind of has to have Peychaud's and kind of has to have rye for most people, including myself, to consider it a true Sazerac. I brought a few different examples here. Could go with the Rittenhouse. Piggyback's kind of dirty. I'm gonna go with the Alberta Premium. I was hesitating because it's like the most expensive whiskey I think I own. I'm not sure if I'm gonna finish this because in the video where I made 3 whiskey sours, I drank all of them and I did not feel good. I didn't get sick. I could have. But in this case, I think I'm going to do this and I'm done. I'm done drinking for the night. I'm going to go with the same 2 ounces. This stuff is also very, very strong. This one is like, I think it was like 63%? Yeah, 63.7. So, Peychaud's, sugar, Alberta Premium. Couple ice cubes. These ones are taken out of the freezer. Longer. Wish I had a freezer down here. I don't. It seems like they're shattering, going everywhere but the glass. There we go. I'm not mad, I'm just disappointed. Well, that's barely touching. Let's see if I can go down a bit. Alright, go ahead and shake it up. Just like an old-fashioned, you don't want to over-stir this. I'm just going to kind of go until the glass starts to feel cold, which is a pretty good indicator. If I had an actual mixing glass, this usually fits a bit better because I'm using fresher ice. Alright, so that, I'm going to say that's good. Move it to the side. It's always a good idea to throw your glasses into the freezer or the fridge for a few hours, or if you don't have any, like preparing you want a cocktail now, crack some ice, fill it up, put the glass to the side for a minute while you're making the cocktail. That way it can be chilled. But you can take it or leave it with most cocktails. This one is served straight up in a rocks glass, so to my mind it's pretty much required. While that sits, we're going to give the glass a quick spray with absinthe. Just using some Pernod. Some people will tell you to, like, you know, fill up a bar spoon, drop it in there, take the glass and spin it up in the air, but that is always a mess for me, so I'm not going to do that. Let's see if I can get this. I think I got this. I do not have this. You really don't got to worry about your drink. If anyone out there is freaking out like, oh my gosh, she's letting the drink sit off to the side for a minute, that's not going to affect it. At least not as much as you think. True, there is no chilling without dilution, but sitting it off to the side for upwards of 2-3 minutes. Dave Arnold did a whole study where he mixed a cocktail, put it off to the side, mixed it with ice, left it in the ice, put the ice off to the side, mixed one immediately, strained it. And what he noticed was that it was the same exact volume, sitting for 2 minutes versus freshly poured. Because it's so chill at that point that you really can't pull any more heat away. Now if we were to sit for like 5, 10, half an hour minutes, then yeah, because the glass is heating back up because of the room, and so the ice has to chill it back down. But a couple minutes is no big deal. Sazerac also gets the lemon. So those are the 3 things that, you know, are kind of required. That is a pitiful. I'm not even gonna bring that near my glass. Nope, I'm not gonna do it. I'm gonna get a bit longer. There we go. I think it's these lemons, but it's not the most attractive. So yeah, those are the 3 things that kind of make this a bit more unique. Is that not unique, but like if it's a Sazerac, it better have absinthe rinse, Peychaud's. It better have Peychaud's, rye, and a lemon peel. That's a good drink. It's a really good drink. I mean, the lemon right on the nose, which is really nice. Both Peychaud's and absinthe have a lot of anise flavor. More so in absinthe than Peychaud, because this is like anisette type deal. But they both have that, which is why they kind of work together. And so lemon, a bit of anisette. I'm not the best at picking these things apart. I do get the rye. This is like my favorite variation on this drink. There is a version, or one of the original versions was served with cognac instead of rye, which I don't think I've tried, at least not that I can remember. I was probably drunk that day. But this is definitely standard and definitely... There's something about it, something about like the presentation, the way that it looks different because it's supposed to be served with no ice. The absinthe is it's not unique to this drink, but it's always a nice touch in drinks that do call for it. Alright, so that was the show for the day. I made an old fashioned, the way I like it, and I made one of my favorites, Sazerac, basically, which is similar to an old fashioned, and in a future video I may cover exactly how we got from A to B. For now, I hope you guys enjoyed the show, and please subscribe because it's free. It's free. Why haven't you? Like, I'm just a poor boy talking in his office with, I can't even afford enough acoustic padding to cover up all the walls. Why can't you just subscribe? It's free for you. Drop a like. Tell me that I'm terrible. Comments means engagement, means that YouTube might pay attention to me and I can finally be validated by society. But if nothing else, I hope you guys have a wonderful day. Please drink responsibly, legally, and I will see you guys next time.